welcome to episode 5 of the Heb World podcast. A very special episode 5 because today we'll be talking about our predictions for the upcoming Nintendo Direct on February 17th, 2021. I am Matteo from the Hub World, and today I'm joined by...
It's me,
I'm
Gino, at
Jules,
the Hub World. Oh,
and I'm Jules from the Hub World. Yes.
So, we're going to be splitting our discussion today into 3 topics. The first one will be talking about the one thing that we know will happen in tomorrow's Direct, which is our Smash Bros. Reveal. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to be taking turns talking about what we think will be what we think is going to be announced. And then the third part will be our dream, no way this happens, but if it does, we'll be super hyped announcements.
Yeah.
So,
Before we get started, we should also
Mhm.
mention the reason that this is such a special episode for us is because this is essentially the reason why we started the podcast, was so that we could speculate about Nintendo Directs when they happened. So it's
episode 5. It's happening.
Yeah,
so
not bad.
just
Pretty
soon.
early on in the lifespan of the podcast.
all aboard the hype train! Choo
Choo
choo!
choo. That was nice.
You gotta get the picture of Reggie and throw it in the stills here for our audience to see. It's the glorious imagery. But yeah,
Okay, should we start with Smash?
Yeah.
Yes.
Smash Bros. Ultimate. Technically, we don't 100% know it's a Smash Bros. Ultimate reveal. They said that they're going to give updates on Smash Bros. Ultimate, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to be getting a character revealed.
But this is the thing, though. If it isn't a character, what else could it be?
Maybe they announce
when you get
another fighter pass
mode. Yeah.
No, I'm saying what if they just say we're going to be adding even more characters and that they leave it at that?
But that's still pretty hype.
I think we're going to get a tease of something.
Yeah, most likely. Even if they didn't say they were going to talk about Smash Ultimate, it would still be
everyone
a safe
would
bet that
think. Yeah.
And this is around the time too, considering characters usually come out around the time that the Amiibos release, and the Amiibo are releasing in March. That means that a character should be coming up within the next month. So this is actually the perfect time to announce the character with a trailer, and then most likely talk about when the next Sakurai Presents will be, which will probably be sometime in the next few weeks.
Yeah, towards I'd say probably mid to the end of March. That's when I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, anyways, so we're all going to talk about the one character we all think is going to be revealed tomorrow, and I have 3 written down just in case. So,
same
if
here.
You guys want to start? Yeah. Well,
I have 1 written down, but
okay, Jules, you go first.
You go first.
Okay. Well, and this is purely born of my own implicit biases, as well as a little bit of Sakurai's interviews and just in general fan requests. But I'm gonna make the safe bet and say that I think that tomorrow's character is a Nintendo character. It is not a third-party character. My reason being that I believe that there will be at least one more Nintendo character in this fighter pass. And there's no way it's the next character, because the next character is going to be the E3 reveal, and the E3 reveal is going to be a big one. And there's no way it's going to be the last character, because they're not going to end all of Smash Ultimate's DLC on a Nintendo character, because that would be somewhat underwhelming, unless it's the Nintendo character, which maybe you two are talking about. But I think that this is going to be a Nintendo character, and that Nintendo character I believe will be making it into the game is Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because Sakurai specifically mentioned ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 being games that he wanted to add reps from, but they were just too close to the development of Smash Ultimate for him to get the characters in. And since Min Min got in, I wouldn't be surprised if Rex also gets in. So that's my belief, but it's also fueled by bias. Like, part of me is like, I don't know if he's the most likely, but he's the one I'm going with right now, because the other ones that I feel are big fan ones, I have reasons why I think they won't be revealed, but maybe I'll get to that if one of you guys mention those characters.
So I guess I'll go next. My character isn't a first party character just because I think at Smash Bros right now we're in the middle of a season pass, and they're going to want to continually build hype and build build notoriety and draw attention to the game. So I think first party characters don't have the same draw as third party characters, obviously, unless there's specific ones. But for me, the character I think's most likely, just based on current events, is Crash Bandicoot. And that's because Crash Bandicoot 4 just got a release date for mid-March for Switch, and I think this character is going to be coming out in March. And Crash Bandicoot is an icon, or he's becoming an icon again, but he definitely was in the 90s. Him, Sonic, and Mario were the three platform holders' biggest characters, and it'd be amazing just to see Crash Bandicoot like talk crap to Mario, and like the announcement trailer have like the guy in the suit talk crap about other characters. I think that'd be hilarious.
Boy.
His moveset potential is fantastic as well, and also, like I said, it's Crash Bandicoot's 25th anniversary this year, and it's just, I feel like if it doesn't happen now, or even the next character reveal, like whatever the big E3 reveal would be, then it's not going to happen at all. So
can I interject? So there's a reason, because Crash is one that's been a hot topic, and he's like one that I want. And there's a reason why I specifically don't think it will be this reveal. I don't think he's off the table, but I think he is not this reveal. And one of the reasons is because, like I said before, I think like a character like Crash is big, like he might be better for an E3 reveal. But my big thing is, I firmly believe that if Crash Bandicoot were going to be in this direct as a character, Nintendo and Activision would have announced the Switch version of Crash 4 in this direct instead of last week.
Yeah, that's the only
I think
thing.
They would have coincided those announcements to make it like type, and I just can't see why they would have announced it last week if they knew Crash was going to be in the direct.
That is true, but I think like there was a leak, or it hasn't been disproven yet, because technically I don't think it can be until the Smash Bros component is confirmed or denied. But there was like a document that, or a Activision employee said something, or there was a document that came out stating like the plans for Crash Bandicoot over the next few years, and the last thing on the list has been Smash Bros.
No, but I think I'm pretty sure that one was debunked. I remember that one. I think that list was debunked. But I mean, I do think Crash is coming. I just personally don't think he's this character, and the main reason is what I just said. But like, I would be very happy to be wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, there is no, like, fans like to put rules on Smash Bros, and clearly there aren't any rules for character speculation. Like, that's the thing.
Completely.
Like,
Exactly.
Like, Nintendo does what they want to do. Like, there might not even be like for all we know, all the remaining characters in this Fighter Pass might be first party characters, or none of them could be.
Yeah.
Like, there is no
there's no pattern.
The pattern is there is no pattern.
And exactly, and that's why like things like Crash, it being his 25th anniversary, and like there being like a Crash game coming out, like I don't see those necessarily as valid points, because when I look at all the other characters,
No, that's actually not true because Sephiroth coincided with Final Fantasy's anniversary, and so did Steve. Steve came out on in Minecraft's anniversary as well, or in the same month. So, and like the last two in a row, it's a complete coincidence, but maybe it's not.
But did Sephiroth
It was
come
either
out?
the anniversary for the series or specifically for Final Fantasy VII. It was one of the two.
Hmm.
I watched it. I watched a Papa Gino's video and he said it.
Oh
So if
god.
I'm wrong,
mean-
it's his fault.
Yeah, no, you are wrong about that because I'm looking at the release date for Final Fantasy VII at least, and it's not anything. I'll look at Final Fantasy. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was released literally the day before Final Fantasy's anniversary, but it wasn't a significant anniversary. Like it wasn't like this was like the whatever year. Like it was just. I think they just happened to do that.
Yeah.
Just
Unfortunately,
happened to
though, people are
coincide.
going to use that as evidence.
True, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh gosh, you guys, no one talked about any of the ones that I thought were gonna pop up. So I'm like, I have a bit of a choice here. I'm like, okay, out of the 4 that I've written down, what do you guys get?
what do you
Uh,
do?
You know what?
Also,
I
just
want.
before I'm gonna just interject really quick, before we do that, if we are talking about anniversaries, and if Minecraft was released on his anniversary and Sephiroth was released on Final Fantasy anniversary, Crash's anniversary is actually in September, which would put him as
Mhm.
Fighter 5 more likely. Anyway, back to you, Gino. I apologize.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Okay, well, speaking of anniversaries and everything, you know what? I'm thinking more along the lines of, okay, we just finished off the 35th anniversary of Mario. What's the next big one? Legend of Zelda. 35th anniversary is going to be coming up this year, and I feel like what I'm about to say could also serve as a segue to the next topic also, but I think we're going to be getting a Zelda character. First party rep.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly who, but I feel like because like we also know Breath of the Wild 2 is on its way too. I feel like maybe one of the Guardians would be really, really cool. Like
You mean the
Daruk,
champions?
Rivali, or Bosa, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the champions. That would be really cool. I personally would think Rivali would be really, really cool because, okay, you can use pre-existing assets maybe for Falco, but like having a bow character, it's not just going to be a generic swordsman. You have a bow character focusing more on range. You can be a little bit more aerial and use Rivali's Gale to like fly around and do things like that. I think it would be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm feeling kind of like
I
underwhelmed.
kind of hope, to be honest with you, to be brutally honest, I hope not.
Yeah, I know.
I-
I'm feeling
I'll-
like as
I
I'm
hope
saying this, I'm
not.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys had
I
way
agree.
better.
No,
You guys had better
I-
picks.
No, that one ran through my mind as well. It being Zelda's 35th anniversary and Zelda not having a new character since Brawl, like totally crossed my mind. I don't know if I would go with one of the
It
champions.
wouldn't just be a generic
personally.
Link clone. Yeah.
No, I
And-
feel like a champion would be cool. My personal pick would not be Rivali, but
Impa
I
wouldn't
was
get
just-
in. There's one.
I know,
Impa
but I
would
was
not
just trying to
get in.
say like something
Why
that's just
not?
like something different than a swords person. Because like think about it,
Yeah.
Daruk uses the big club variation of sword, or Bosa uses
Isn't
a
that
sword
variation of
also.
sword? Is a
And
club
like
a
okay, you can
variation
use.
of a sword?
Well, if
Eh,
you even if you look
I
at
wouldn't say.
his stone maul thing or whatever it is a two-hand sword in the game, right? Kind
In
of.
Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing
And-
about somebody like Daruk is that Daruk, one, is a Goron, and Gorons are the most recognizable race in Zelda. And two, like all Gorons generally have the same like assets of moves. So like that would also future-proof Smash, where if they wanted to bring Daruk back, but Daruk was irrelevant, they could just replace him with whoever the current Goron is.
Like
Mhm.
I actually like on my little post-it note here, I wrote Rivali, and I was thinking about it, and like as you guys were talking, I'm like, maybe one of the champions instead. Gives a little bit more wiggle room, and
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild's been very popular, so
Just
Yeah.
so
the
I
reason
know it's
why-
not very likely, but I think it would just be cool to give some.
It would be
Breath of the Wild
cool.
love.
Yeah,
if like
agree.
I think if Zelda were to get another rep,
Oh,
it
excuse
would
me.
be Impa, but this is the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity got spirits on a DLC spirits,
True.
and Impa was one of them. And if Impa gets
Yeah.
in, then the whole thing where spirits don't deconfirm characters anymore comes back, and that means Gino has a chance, and that would be awful.
Okay,
So-
but Gino isn't deconfirmed because of
I
his
know
spirit.
he got
He's
deconfirmed because of the
deconfirmed
Mii,
because
the
of
Mii
the Mii
costume.
You don't want to
costume.
give anyone
I know.
else
And
hope.
because
Don't
and
give the
because-
Gino people hope.
and because he's an irrelevant character and has been for over 20 years. That's why he's deconfirmed.
Fight
but-
us, Gino fans.
Fight us, like honestly, fight us.
I'm
But
willing to die on this hill.
My name is Gino,
like-
and I don't even want a Gino in Smash.
Yeah.
I don't think though that like Age of Calamity Impa is the only option, right? Like, it's also possible that, like, who knows? Like, there's been rumblings of a Skyward Sword remake for so long, and if that were to somehow come this year, they could throw in Skyward Sword Impa,
Yeah, that could work too.
right?
Or just even
Mhm.
like the original Hyrule Warriors Impa. That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, with the Naginata.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then
Well,
then you have
just
two. Then you have two big sword users.
Oh,
Just before we get off of Smash Bros, I'll just reveal the last one I have because I think it's also likely. It'll be quick. Like there is rumor, like I think some,
I don't
like I think it's like
know.
Korean
This isn't a
ratings
Smash
board.
topic.
Breaking
some
the
cr-
rules.
Well, no, I
But then
did
again, we
work
also
here.
make
I
the
put in a
rules.
lot of work into this. I'd like just to say one more thing. Just like the
Yeah, fine.
Koreans rating boards did potentially leak a Ninja Gaiden collection for Switch, and Ria Hayabusa was speculated heavily by some credible Smash leakers, as like at least discussions were had. And Koei Tecmo and Nintendo work a lot together, and there's a chance that their flagship character could be put into Smash Bros. And that's all I'm gonna
If
say. And he's a
Ryu-
legacy character too, right?
If Ryu
So-
Hayabusa is happening, I firmly believe it's this character. They wouldn't do him for the E3 reveal, and I don't think they'd
Yeah.
end the fighter pass on
Mhm.
Ryu Hayabusa. So it's
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah. But
Okay, we ready for the
Anyways.
actual bulk of the direct?
The meat and potatoes. Yeah, let's go for it.
The meat and two veg. Okay. There might be
Wow.
things that overlap.
I'll do
Um,
my best to not because I wrote multiple things down and like I kind of prioritize them. So like if they get said by one of you guys, then I'll just not even
Yeah.
mention it. I'll just say, oh, I had that too, and yeah. So
Okay, so
Um,
I'll start. I'm okay starting.
Mhm.
I have one that neither of you is putting. So
Okay.
Um, so I think it's possible. And this is part of the reason why I said Rex and Pyra is because I think that it's very possible that either a new Xenoblade game is coming this year. I know Definitive Edition came out last year, but I genuinely do not believe that was the only thing they were working on.
mhm.
So I can see a new Xenoblade game coming out this year, or a definitive edition of Xenoblade X in the vein of Xenoblade Definitive Edition last year, which ultimately wouldn't take as much work as Xenoblade Definitive Edition because it was already an HD game.
Mhm.
Didn't it have an external
can
download
see-
too?
It,
Like, if
Yeah,
you
you
wanna-
had to download. You had to download like you could. Sorry, you could download like enhancement packs
yeah,
off of the
to make
eShop.
textures better.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, so I can see either, like, I can see a new Monolith game coming this year because in my mind the last like major game they released was Xenoblade 2, which happened in Switch's first year in 2017, or was it
Mhm.
2018? 2017?
End of
So-
2017 that came out.
Yeah, so like 4 years to make like a major game, and during that time they were also, remastering Xenoblade 1. I can see it
They
happening.
made Torna.
Yeah, sure, they did make Torna, but
Mhm. But I
um,
think they are I think they're two studio, like they're big enough. Their studio's big enough to be working on 2 games now, especially right now because I think they did like a massive hiring spree. So
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibility. That's actually I completely forgot about Monolith Soft. I didn't write anything down about
Yeah.
them.
Well, see, my
But
ranking is personally like I want it to be Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If it's not Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I hope it's Xenoblade X ported, and I'll take a Xenoblade X sequel if we have to have it. But for those of you who don't know, despite me being a Xenoblade fan, I don't love Xenoblade X. I'd be okay to give it another chance if they remade it. I don't think it deserves a sequel. So I would much rather Xenoblade 3, personally. But that's what I think. I think Monolith might have something.
That reminds me, I gotta actually like go back and finish Definitive Edition. Oh
So-
gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I have to finish Definitive Edition as well. I kind of dropped it. But
I buy Xenoblade games but don't play them. So I'll just
that
buy
being
it
said,
and put it in my
I've played all the
collection,
other
so-
ones. I just didn't finish Definitive Edition because I have a valid reason. I got my friend into it, and I watched him play it, and then I had a hard time playing it myself because I just watched
Yeah.
him play it. So,
Yeah, that's
I will
that's
one
pretty
day.
fair.
But
So
that's my first prediction.
do I do a massive one, arguably the biggest one right now, or do I do a small one?
Your choice.
Do a little one.
Yeah, but then you guys might talk about. Well, okay. I think a new Mario sports game is coming out this year. Probably it made by Camelot, and tennis came out. I think we're getting a new Mario Golf game. There hasn't been
I
a
would be
Mario
so
Golf game
hyped.
since Mario Golf World Tour on 3DS, and or whatever it was called, but there hasn't been a console Mario Golf since Toadstool Tour on GameCube. So it's been a really long time since we've had a console Mario Golf experience. Camelot, like they haven't, like the last game was Mario Tennis Aces in 2018. So like these games they don't seem that hard to make, and done anything with Mario Golf in a while. I'm sure they have ideas, and the Mario cast, especially the Mario cast, has expanded quite a bit since Island Tour or World Tour. I get confused. I think it's World Tour. I made that mistake earlier, but yeah, I think it's about time. Like, just do it, Nintendo. So
Oh, that's Crash.
I'm not the biggest Mario Golf fan, but I didn't play the one on 3DS, but I'm willing to give it a chance because mini golf on Mario Golf 64, got too much Mario in my mind, is fantastic, and I'm willing to give it another chance.
Yeah, I think it could be. I didn't even think about that one, but that's a really good idea. And I hope that if they do, I hope Camelot follows the same model that they've had with Mario Tennis Aces, where they like add characters and little like challenges and things throughout, because that really
Well,
kept Mario Tennis Aces. Like, how long did we play Mario Tennis Aces after it came out? Just because there was a new character every month.
well, we played until they stopped making characters, however long that was.
Yeah.
So like almost
So-
I
a
remember it's
year.
like, oh, we gotta get
Well-
Boo with a special hat.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that after a while, but like the thing I didn't like about Mario Tennis Aces that I hope they fix in golf is add that RPG type single player mode, because
Oh, just like the old handheld.
yeah, the Mario Golf and Mario Tennis handheld games on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance were awesome, and Golf
They were
Story on
fantastic.
Wii, Golf Story on Switch was super popular and well received. And if Nintendo does something even like slightly similar to that, and instead of the I'm gonna say garbage single player mode we got on Mario Tennis
Putting it
Aces,
lightly.
yeah, honestly, it was awful. Remember they had to patch. There was some awful like thing that happened in that. I just remember it being so bad. I don't know exactly what it was, but it it they had to patch it, and it's still not good. Um, but yeah, I really want them to bring the RPG elements back into the Camelot Mario sports games. So, and also, I want Diddy Kong to be continue his. I know Diddy Kong was. I think Mario Golf Toadstool Tour was Diddy Kong's first Mario sports game, but his most recent one was Aces. But before that, Mario Tennis Aces. But before that, there was a few Mario Kart games in a row where Diddy wasn't playable. We need Diddy to be solidified again as a Mario supporting character. So we need him back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a good time for me to use one of the two that I have on my list here, just because I'm afraid it's gonna go if I don't say it. But we're definitely gonna get a Zelda compilation pack, kind of like how we did for Mario 3D All Stars.
Uh-huh.
Nintendo's sitting on a bunch of the Grezzo 3DS games. They're sitting on Twilight. They're sitting on Wind Waker that were available on the Wii U. It would be nice to get all of those in a compilation pack kind of thing, very similar to how they did for the Wind Waker pre-order bonus, where you got all of the other Zelda games on the same disc. That would be very cool to see all of those things, and maybe even like throw in a Skyward Sword
Okay.
remake on there.
Okay, Gino,
Or not a remake, sorry.
We gotta reel this back really, 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 really far.
Is
Okay,
this more like two things?
this is like for me, it's like four things. Okay,
How?
so I th- I think they're just gonna talk generally about the 35th anniversary of Zelda. Okay, and a collection I think is part. It could be part of the anniversary plans, but
I just had a
um,
better
and,
idea.
and I do agree with you that Wind Waker HD and Twilight HD, like those are like two of the few remaining Wii U ports that would do well on Switch, I think. And the other thing is, do you think that do you think Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D will be part of the collection? Like
Oh, I think so.
what, like direct
No,
ports? Like I don't know how those games are, like they'd have to be changed a decent amount. Like, look at what we got with 3D All Stars, right? They didn't do any work to that basically. Like
they
they
did.
upres
They upres them.
Galaxy was done already because they made
Yeah,
that for
for the
China. They
Nvidia.
were sitting on that for a long time. That was done. All they did for the 3D All Stars was they enhanced Sunshine. They made it 1080, or no, they made it widescreen, and they made it 720, and they made 64 720 as well. But that's about it. And that
Yeah,
was for Mario, okay?
but what? Why can't they just do that for Zelda?
But I'm saying specifically for Ocarina and Majora's 3D, they
Yeah.
actually have
That's
to
already
go into those games and like fix the menus, because like you're
Why?
not going to have that bottom screen anymore where you can like move the items around or anything like that.
Well, I
They'd
think
have
it's
to,
more
my
they
stuff
would.
is very. I would assume it's very easy to do. I'm not a game
Yeah,
dev or anything, but I'd
I
assume
think
that's
it
easy.
honestly more likely what they would do is they would actually use the N64 game as the base and just replace the models with the models from 3D and then upres everything. Like they
Mhm.
wouldn't go into Ocarina 3D and replace everything or like change up the menus and like rework it. What they would do is they would take Ocarina, upres it, and then just replace the character models with the 3D ones, which will have been upres. But it's also possible that they don't even use the 3D one, that they just do the Mario 64 thing and they take
Yeah.
Ocarina and they just upres it.
Like honestly, I think there's going to be a Zelda collection, but I have no faith in it. Like I think the value of 3D All Stars is there. I'm not one of those people that think like it was a horrible thing by Nintendo to make that and we got gouged or anything. I think they will make it. I will buy it, but I don't think I don't want to get my expectations too high because I had my expectations somewhat relatively high for 3D All Stars and I got burned. But
Okay,
can I two things?
Can I change
No, go ahead.
my original idea?
No, wait. Before you change it, I'm gonna just bounce in. First of all, the reason that we had our expectations destroyed by 3D All Stars is because of all the rumors that happened early that told us they were all full remakes. If we didn't have that expectation, I don't think we would have minded. Secondly, here before Gino changes it, I don't think that if we were to get this collection, that it's going to be Ocarina, Majora, Wind Waker, Twilight. I think it's Ocarina, Twilight, Wind Waker. They're skipping Majora's, not because I want them to, because I don't. But looking at what they did with 3D All, no, they shouldn't. Absolutely not. But looking at what they did with 3D All Stars, there's a reason they skipped Galaxy 2. And it's because it was a direct sequel, and they wanted it to look like one game from each console, one game representing each style. Like these are three pillars. And the problem was if you threw Mario Galaxy 2 in there, now half the collection is Mario Galaxy. So same thing that if they do Twilight, Majora's, Wind Waker, Ocarina, half the collection is now N64 Hero of Time. It actually makes more sense story-wise to have Ocarina and then the two branching sequels of Twilight and Wind Waker. And then if that's the case, because Twilight and Wind Waker are actually done already, they could spend a little bit more time on Ocarina. The other thing is, and this, again, like I'm a biased Zelda guy, but I think Ocarina of Time is a much more essential, definitive game to the Zelda series than any of those games in the Mario 3D collection are to Mario. Because Mario as a series is not just the 3D games, Zelda is. Zelda is completely carried by its 3D games. Mario is not. If Mario didn't have another 3D game for the rest of time, it would be a shame, but the series would persist. Zelda would not survive without its 3D games. And so I think Ocarina of Time is more of a gem to Zelda as a series than Mario 64 is to Mario as a series. And I think Nintendo might take a little bit more care with doing a little bit more to that game, especially since they don't even need to touch Wind Waker and Twilight because they're done.
Yeah, and a lot of people argue that like the argument's there for Ocarina of Time to be like the greatest game of all time.
No,
and
it's not, but it's very
no,
essential.
but like people say that like it's. But the other thing, just wanted also like I don't think there'll be 4 games in the collection, just because I think that that might be too much for Nintendo to put in. Like I don't think Nintendo, that's too much value in there. Like 4 games, especially if like they're 4 meaty games and they're Zelda. Nintendo has to like value their brand. I don't think that they would put four games in there. I think that's too much. And then the other thing is actually I'll say this last once we close out this part. But
okay. This is as you guys were talking about him, I kind of realized that there may have been well with this whole thing, right? Like it's a bit much. But what if we have 3 timelines? What if they have 3 bundles or 3 packs? One for each of the timelines.
That'd be hard to sell.
But that would be the entire thing, right? You'd have 1 or 2 big games in each one, and it also solves the problem of like, hey, putting all the older games in one pack, right?
Well, here's the thing with that is that,
and you would just leave the old games as the old games.
Well, there's the reason I think that might be tricky to sell is because one, Nintendo's moved away from marketing Zelda as 3 separate timelines. They're not trying to do that anymore. That was something that they did because people asked for it, and they've really moved away from that now. 2, there's too much of a disconnect between the games in each timeline, right? Like you don't want to have a mix. Like for example, if you go down the child timeline, your games are going to be, because you can't have Ocarina, because then where's Ocarina going to go? Then you're going to have Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords Adventures. Those games have nothing to do with each other, and they don't connect gameplay-wise or theme-wise or narrative-wise. It just doesn't really make sense. And then, on top of that, is if you're going to do a whole timeline, there's games like Link to the Past, which are on SNES Classic. So then you're taking away sales from Nintendo Switch Online. There's games like Link's Awakening, which you're taking away sales from Link's Awakening's remake, and it doesn't seem like it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was onto a winner there.
There would be 4 collections technically because there's the stuff before the timeline split also. So
yeah. So
but,
I think I understand what you mean. I do think though that like value wise, like Matteo said, 4 games might be too much, and I think thematically it makes sense. Ocarina, Wind Waker, Twilight, because those 3 games of all of the 3D Zeldas, even to this day, those are the only 3 games that focus on the 2 major elements of Zelda, which are the Triforce and the Zelda Link Ganon conflict. No other 3D Zelda games focus on both those things. Only those 3 games. Skyward is too far removed. It doesn't have Ganon. Breath of the Wild doesn't talk about the Triforce at all. Majora's Mask is a side story. Those 3 games are the 3 games that focus on Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, as well as the Triforce. And it just makes sense for those 3 to represent the series.
Yeah. So so we would get those 3.
Also,
if there was something.
So just to put a button into the Zelda collection talk, if we all are in agreement that we probably think there will be a Zelda collection, I can't wait to hear what people say when it's only available for a limited amount of time.
Oh gosh!
I mean, they'll say the same things they said about Mario.
I know this is going to be funny. It'll be funny.
Let's be real.
Because if you want it, you're going to buy it. So
exactly.
I know, but what if you don't have a Switch and then
you buy
like 2 years down the line you become a Zelda fan?
Tough
luck.
You gotta buy somebody's account that has it.
Buy it physically. Buy it secondhand.
I do think Nintendo's going to overturn that. I think what they're going to end up doing is they're going to just have them digitally. Like not even separately, just not separately, like digital. It'll become a digital only game.
I was going to talk about something like that later on. So I don't want to go.
Is it okay if I say my next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Only because it's on this topic.
Exactly. Okay, that's what I was going to say.
It's a Zelda topic, so I feel like since we're talking about Zelda Anniversary, why don't I just continue? So my second game, and I firmly believe this. So I'll give you context before I say. So for those of you who aren't aware of who Grezzo is Nintendo's studio that remakes games. Specifically, they've remade Zelda games. They did Ocarina of Time 3D. They did Majora's Mask 3D. They also did Link's Awakening recently on.
They may have even done the Four Swords Anniversary port for 3DS. When I think about it, yeah.
But they most recently did Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening came out 2 years ago. I want to say this fall will be 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2 years ago this fall. Okay. Now they just put out. Grezzo just put out a hiring call for developers that because they're focusing on some medieval game,
a medieval stylish game,
something along those lines. Now, this is what I was always thinking was going to happen, and that listing made me think that it is going to happen. And it's not what you think. I'm not thinking that this is going to happen because of the listing, what it says. I think the fact that there's a listing now, almost 2 years after Link's Awakening came out, means they have a game done. They were working on something for the last 2 years, and it's done. And what kind of game can you get done in 2 years? A game that reuses assets. And from the second Link's Awakening got announced, I said, Oracle's remake in this style. It is the sequel to Link's Awakening. It uses the same graphical style on DS or on Game Boy. Remake the Oracle's games. It would be perfect. Double release, whether they put them together or they sell them separately. Release the Oracle's remakes this year, and Grezzo moves on to their next game. Like that would be a perfect tie-in because I think there's 3 games in the Zelda Anniversary thing. and it's going to all culminate in Breath of the Wild 2. And I think it's going to be a collection, like an HD collection with Ocarina, Wind Waker, Twilight, Oracle remakes to represent the classic style Zelda, and then Breath of the Wild 2 at the end of all of it. I think there will be 3 games, and those are the 3 games. So I'm thinking Oracle remakes are going to be announced tomorrow, and I would argue that Oracle remakes could even be a game that could release like in the next few months. Like it could come out in like May or June.
So when you were giving your when you were going into the Oracle remix and talking about Grezzo and the medieval stylish game, I was totally with you, and I was thinking we were thinking about the same games. But when you mentioned Oracle games, I'm like, oh really? Honestly thought you were talking about Skyward Sword. So
No.
and I think Skyward Sword is it's arguably probably one of the most stylish Zelda games. So
I
it's
agree. That
possible, and
listing
doesn't require and like
No, but
y-
I agree with you there. I think that
Mhm.
listing could be for Skyward, but that's what I'm saying is whatever game they release this year, whatever game they've been working on for the last 2 years, they're not hiring
Already
people
done.
for that now. They're done a
Yeah.
game and they're moving on maybe to Skyward,
yeah. Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that
But
was
the
my
thing is, I don't
interpretation of
think
what Jules was saying.
I don't think Skyward's going to take a lot of
will.
resources.
They have to
Really?
rework
It
all
would.
of the motion control.
Yeah.
Everything, because think about it. Nintendo
Yeah.
Switch Lite has to be able to run it. They're going to have to rework everything.
Will it though?
Everything if they
Because
want it.
like
No longer
Switch
will
Lite,
Link be running
but-
around with the sword up in the air.
but no offense to Switch Lite owners, but like there already is like you can't play Super Mario Party. Like,
But that was before Switch Lite came out. Since Switch Lite
Yeah.
came out, Nintendo's marketed that every game moving forward will be playable on Switch Lite.
oh, I think that, to be honest,
'Cause I think-
that's
I
kind
think
of a
what they're
shame,
gonna
to be
do-
honest. I understand,
think-
but like
But what they'll do is I don't think they'll remove the motion control, but I think they will allocate the motion control to the right stick so that if you don't want to use the motion control, you use the right stick to control the sword. And that in itself is just going to take a while to reprogram. Plus, they're going to have to update
but
the
then
art
how would you
style
control the
and
camera and the sword at the same time? Like, it's
But you
just-
could, but you can because there was no right stick.
It might be like a button input and push. For instance,
But
you
it
push
doesn't
just
matter
say like
because-
ZR, and then
But
you use the stick.
But that's what I mean. But it doesn't matter because the original Skyward Sword you didn't have a right stick because we didn't have a
But
right stick.
you had
So it doesn't
but you
change
had
anything.
the pointer. The pointer control was the replacement of the right stick, and the swing is also an attack. So you probably can't do the swing.
Was the
and
pointer
camera.
control a replacement of the
Yeah,
right
'cause-
stick?
Yeah, because like you would move your camera.
Can't remember how the
around
camera worked
with
in
your
that game.
pointer.
I don't think so. I think the only way you can move camera in Skyward was you move Link and where he's facing, and then you press the back, like the ZR button or whatever, and it's
Maybe.
changed. I'm pretty sure there was no free camera in Skyward.
But either way, though, like it'd be cool to see like the Capcom Zelda games brought back. Like now they're what? They're now like the Zelda game that hasn't been touched. Like it hasn't been ported. No, actually no, it was on 3DS, wasn't
Zelda
it?
1 and 2.
Yeah,
But Zelda 1 and 2 are always brought out. Like they're on
Yeah.
everything.
They just haven't been
But,
updated.
Yeah.
yeah. And technically, Seasons was a kind of like it started off as a Zelda 1 remake. Like
Yes,
the world design of Hollow Drum is pretty much this 1-to-1 for the original.
But I think to end because this is probably by far the biggest portion of the podcast, like what we're talking about with Zelda. But like, to put an end to our Zelda 35th predictions, will they or won't they reveal or show anything for Breath of the Wild 2? Like, do you guys think there'll be a tease or a trailer or even like a release date? Like, what do you think will be the extent of Breath of the Wild 2's appearance in the Direct?
I don't think they'll make
I-
the same mistake as they did with the first one. Because when was that originally supposed to release 2015,
No,
and it got
Um,
delayed twice.
Yeah, it got delayed twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
so
not.
I don't think they're gonna make that mistake. I don't think
No,
they'll
I
show
don't
us
think
more
so
when they're
either.
ready.
Yeah.
I think it is more likely that they talk about an anniversary and allude to the fact that there will be multiple Zelda announcements throughout the year and leave it at that. Like announce maybe whatever the first one is, but leave it ambiguous because I it really depends. Like if Breath of the Wild is coming out soon, like if it's close to being done, like I agree with Gino, like then maybe they'll do it. But I also don't see like even if it's coming out in the fall, there's really no purpose to talk about it now other than to appease impatient people who are like, I want to see something. Like they can easily just wait till E3 and just focus, which is what they probably will do. Like realistically, their E3 game this year will be Breath of the Wild 2. And they're just gonna focus completely on Breath of the Wild 2 at E3. So I don't really see the
but I think
purpose.
I think if they are going to do that, like the approach where like they reveal at E3, they'll say, "Hey, we'll be talking about Breath of the Wild 2 later this year," because like we don't even know like if there's even going to be an E3, but like they're say like, "Hey, we haven't forgotten about this game. It's coming. Like we're going to talk
But
about it
why do they
down the
have to
line."
tell us that they haven't forgotten about this
Nin-
game? Like who genuinely thinks they forgot?
Nintendo likes doing stuff like that.
But realistically, like why do they need to
No,
tell
it's just
us we haven't forgotten about Breath of the Wild 2, the sequel to our one of our most successful games of all time? Like
like
of
I didn't
course
mean
they
it like
didn't
that. Like
forget about.
obviously, but like I meant like along the lines where like here's the collection, here's a Grezzo port, here's probably Age of Calamity DLC, and here is like, and we will be, and Breath of the Wild 2 is coming. Just a little more patience. Like that's
Fair.
it.
I guess I think it's more likely that they just announce a Zelda anniversary event and one Zelda game and then say look forward to more Zelda announcements throughout the year. And the one Zelda game will likely be the one that's coming out soonest with like most those weren't words. The Zelda game that they announced will most likely be the one that's closest to release and I am willing to bet that Breath of the Wild 2 is not the Zelda game closest to release right now.
It'll be the last. It'll be the last
Most likely
for
the
sure.
last.
Yeah, but
I argue it will bleed into next year, but I
yeah,
may be wrong.
there's a chance. There's always that chance with Nintendo. But
Yeah.
so I guess for the sake of the podcast, I will count the whole Zelda 35th discussion as Gino's topic because he started
Yeah.
it. So,
Well, no, because I've given two now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But were you going to talk about Skyward Sword? Was that one of yours, Matteo, or no?
it
That was just
it
something you added.
I was gonna talk about just Zelda 35 in general, and then I had like Age of Calamity DLC, which I didn't even talk about, but I think obviously it's coming, and then the collection, Grezzo,
That could be a
Zelda
tie-in.
game, and Breath of the Wild 2. Like those were the things I was gonna talk about within that, but like we've talked about it already, so
Okay. Now, okay, so then we
it would
each
be
have
you
one
now.
thing to say, right?
Yeah.
So it's me. Okay, and that's fine because I actually wanted to go next because mine isn't really a big one.
Mhm.
I also have another. I kind of have two. Can I mention one that's like really small? It's a
Yeah, go ahead,
DLC.
because
I think could
yeah,
be
because I have other things I'm going to talk about too. So
okay. So one thing I just want to say is like, and I don't think this will happen, but I think it could be cool if they surprised us with maybe a little content add on to 3D World, maybe a new character, maybe that character is Daisy. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I thought it would be nice to hear that because they did say something like updates to other games, including Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I can see them talking
yeah,
about like Animal Crossing or like maybe an add on to 3D World or whatever. But the big one I want to talk about, and this one I feel strongly about, and I don't know if it'll get announced tomorrow, but I think it's there. It's coming. For sure, it's coming. There's a game that Nintendo has been talking about for, I want to say, like 7 years. And they keep saying it's coming. They keep saying it's coming. And then it never comes. And we're like, every year when we get to E3, we're like, oh, it's definitely getting announced this year. They've been saying it for like 7 years. Pikmin 4 is happening this year. And there's a reason it is happening this year. Nintendo sat on Pikmin 3 to re-release on Switch for 4 years. And it is not a coincidence. They released it last year. They released it to remind people that Pikmin exists so that they could release Pikmin 4 this year. They released it with a co-op mode because that's going to be the big thing about this one is it's going to be complete co-op with online. And Pikmin 3 Deluxe outsold the rest of the series combined.
Yep.
So there's no way there's no way there's not a Pikmin 4 finally coming. If Nintendo needed reassurance to see, like, let's throw Pikmin 3 out there just to see if people still want this series, they got it. Mm-hmm. Pikmin 4 is coming either this year or next year. But considering Miyamoto has been saying for 7 years that it's close to being done, I would hope that it's close to being done now.
Pikmin 3 was literally the same way. Do you guys remember, like, in the Wii era?
I remember
Pikmin 3's coming. Pikmin 3's coming. Where is it? It got announced in 2013. It got delayed again after its announcement or whatever it was. So, yeah, but it's coming though. The Pikmin curse. Imagine if
you were going to say Bayonetta.
You know what? It's such a good series because I played Pikmin 3 Deluxe. And I got it just because it was co-op, and I played it co-op with my friend. And Pikmin as a co-op game works so well. It is unbelievable how good that game is co-op. And I really hope that that's why they made it co-op, is they were testing it to see if that works with Pikmin 4. And I hope that part of this new online system that they're now using, that's going to start with Monster Hunter Rise, is because they're going to be making more of their games online co-op. That would be my hope. So Pikmin 4, I think it's happening. I think it's the only space Nintendo adventure ending in the 4 number coming out this year.
Yep.
Fight me on that, Nintendo fanboys. Metroid Prime 4 is still 2 years away.
Yeah, no one. I don't think anyone thinks.
What about Bayonetta? Is Bayonetta 3 still 8 years away?
That one, who knows?
I thought that's what you were leading up to. Every year they say it's coming and it doesn't. Bayonetta 3.
That's another one. Kamiya said last year, literally around this time, he literally said last year the Bayonetta 3 trailer is imminent, and it just never came.
Yeah.
And here we are a year later.
So
this is part of the joke.
You said, and I think we're all in agreement, there's no way Metroid Prime 4 is coming this year. It's not going to be shown at this Direct. I don't even think a Metroid Prime trilogy port will be shown at the Direct.
No, I think they're doing what, with Pikmin 3 Deluxe, they're doing what they did with Pikmin 3 Deluxe. They have Metroid Prime trilogy ready to go.
It's in the can.
Whenever the lead up to Metroid Prime 4 is. Once they know Metroid Prime 4 is a year away from release, they're going to drop Metroid Prime trilogy.
Remind everyone.
There was that massive rumor in last year's Game Awards that there was definitely some weight to those rumors. There's no way that all of those people were wrong, and I don't think it was a thing people piggybacking off of each other. The Metroid Prime trilogy is probably coming to Switch at some point, but trilogy, it's not coming this year. 4 is not coming this year, but this year, and I think at the Direct, I think they're going to announce a new Mercury Steam made 2D Metroid. If not that, then at least a port maybe of Samus Returns. And I think 2D Metroid, or if it's a new game, I think it'll be Metroid 5. Mercury Steam, they've proven that they're competent, that they could make a Metroidvania game and a fantastic Metroid game. Look at how, I'm a Metroid fan. Before Samus Returns came out, the original Metroid 2 was unplayable. I did not like that game.
It's tough.
They were able to breathe new life into that game and make it arguably, I think, one of the best 2D Metroid games. It's a phenomenal game.
Now I would like
for you. Yep.
So you're saying you think that it's either a port of Metroid like Samus Returns or an obviously remade
port
or Metroid 5. You don't think they would do the Samus Returns treatment to Super or Fusion on Switch.
I think they would do it to Fusion.
I think,
Or
or
I
even
even
think
Metroid
Zero,
1.
Super is too sacred.
no, but Zero Mission, I think does it. I think Zero Mission's the perfect upgrade for Metroid One. I wouldn't go into do a remake of a remake for that, but and Super Metroid, I think it's perfect the way it is. To be honest with you, like I think there'd be a lot of people upset if they like on like the smallest thing got changed in Super Metroid. Fusion, on the other hand, you know, it didn't sell that well. No Metroid game sold well, but like Fusion, it's a hard to come by game. Like it's on, you can play it on Game Boy Advance, and good luck getting a like it's expensive to buy a Game Boy Advance and Fusion, and then if you didn't get it as an ambassador on 3DS, then you have to play it on Wii U, which was Nintendo's least selling console. So I think there's the argument to be made to do a remake of Fusion, but for me personally, I would rather just bring Samus Returns because I liked Samus Returns more than Fusion, or just do Metroid 5, like finally like continue that story. I think my number one would be Metroid 5. And I think Mercury Steam has proven that they can do it. Like there isn't a lot of really good Metroidvania games on Switch, to be honest with you. Like I'm a fan of like the SteamWorld Dig games, but like to me, like nothing else is really able to scratch that itch for me aside from Metroid. Like I'm not big on Castlevania, but like and there, like, remember there was that tease in Origami King, like there was Samus had a face there, like a helmet there, and there was also when Origami King got rumored, there was a rumor of another 2D Metroid game, so like maybe there's something there. And I think it's Metroid doesn't sell well for Nintendo. It's not a big franchise, so putting it out this year, maybe as like a summer or fall game, but not the fall game, would be like a perfect place for it. So
Yeah. It kind of
yeah.
goes into what I was going to say we were going to get a Metroid Prime thing, but I like these ideas much better.
Mm-hmm. Oh
But
man,
yeah.
I just want another Metroid game. Metroid
Yeah.
has so much potential to be like a pillar for Nintendo if people gave it a chance. So
Yep.
that's my Metroid soapbox. Gino,
Yep.
what is
I just
your?
said that I was going to say Metroid Prime Collection,
Do you
but
not have another one? Should we swing it back to Jules or?
yeah, I got
Oh,
nothing else.
I'm done. That's all mine.
Oh,
I've done
well,
3.
I have two. I have two more.
You have 2
Okay,
more.
go
I have
for
two
it.
more, and I think when I say this first one, it's gonna both of you guys, are gonna be like, ah, crap, I should have said this. But Kirby,
Yeah, no,
need a new Kirby.
I do think that. I just
Need
not
a
one
new
of the
Kirby
ones I want
game.
to mention.
Need a new Kirby game.
Like I would have put
I
this
agree.
on
3D
like an
Kirby
honorable
game.
mentions thing.
I want a
That'd be
3D
nice.
Kirby game
I agree.
because
Kirby Air Ride 2. Let's go with
Star.
that.
Oh my God, Star Allies though. Like Star Allies was fun. Don't get me wrong, but like I feel like 2D Kirby now is kind of stale. No matter what they do, I don't think it's gonna reach the heights of like the best 2D Kirby games. Like Planet Robobot was fun, but it's not what I really look for in a Kirby game. I really want them to go into 3D. Nintendo has got to make more 3D platformers besides just Mario. But and
Yeah.
and the last one I had is, I think, because, or if you guys don't know, this month's February's Nintendo Switch online games are not great. The reason why is none of the games are first party games. And I think to remedy that, they got the majority of the first party games on NES out. They got a little bit of ways to go for Super Nintendo. And now, my thing is, do you guys think they're gonna expand Nintendo Switch Online, add a new platform? Because this year is the 25th anniversary of the Nintendo 64, and
Hold this topic. Hold this topic for later on. Hold
in
this
the
one
in
for
the
later. Or do
later
we
on
just go
what?
right into like our wishes now?
Well, no. I was just gonna say, I think there's a chance that they could expand Nintendo Switch Online. Like 64 is coming, like Mario 64 is going away on 3D All Stars at the end of March. They could just put Mario 64 in uh Switch Online. But the thing is, Ocarina of Time, if they do a collection, it'd be it kind
Mhm.
of screw
It would
Nintendo
devalue
over.
that.
Yeah, but like there's so many N64 games that they could make, and maybe it could be a way for Microsoft and Nintendo to team up and put Rare games, the Rare made N64 games that are amazing in that collection or in that group of games. But yeah,
I
uh,
think this is a good time to switch over to our like what we wish,
yeah.
like the absolute long shot kind of
hmm
speculation. And
So
I think to continue your vein of your train of thought, I'm gonna go with mine first. We
all
had
right,
the NES Classic, we had the SNES Classic, we need an N64 Classic. I want a physical Trident again. I want the little Trident plugging into an N64 little classic machine. Put like 20 games on there, and like you could have the original Smash, you could have Mario 64, you could have Ocarina of Time, the best Nintendo 64 era Zelda game, and you could also
the
have things. That would be a great way to include Microsoft in on there. Throw in
yeah,
Banjo
like
Kazooie.
you can't have an N64 classic without the greatest game of all time, Banjo-Kazooie, in that
Yeah,
right? So, but
and
think about but would it be that small though? Because like think about like the controllers on the NES and SNES Classic are the same size of the original ones. The like those are going to be pretty big controllers for potentially having four of them. But yeah, I think like we got the Game and Watch last year, right? So
yeah.
like Nintendo's still looking at bringing back their old hardware to modern times. So I didn't even think about that, Gino. I just put
Neither did I.
N64 NSO as something I predicted, not as a dream thing. But like obviously, duh.
I want my N64 Classic. Throw the original, like both of the Mario sports games, Mario Tennis and Mario Golf. More Mario Tennis, but like being able to
Kirby
play that on an
64,
HDTV without needing the use of component cables and stuff like that. Oh, we
Mario
still like
Party.
we just played that this summer. Like
Yep. We have
like
Mario
we just
Tennis
had like
64 tournaments.
yeah. And like you wouldn't be able to bring in all of your custom characters, but they broke the game anyway, but like come on, that'd be really great. And then you could have like wrecking ball, come on. And super
Yeah.
bowling.
Super Bowling, no. I don't want that getting ported. It brings the value of the game down.
Yeah, okay, we'll
So,
leave that as a blockbuster exclusive.
but so I think you can't mention a dream Nintendo prediction without mentioning F-Zero. So, and I will just leave it at that. I don't think it's gonna happen. It might never happen ever again, to be honest with you. Hasn't been a game since like 2004. Captain Falcon's in more Smash Bros. Games than F-Zero games.
What are you talking about?
So,
He drives cars? I thought he just punches
and
things.
so,
Tee.
but Nintendo, I think, is done with F-Zero. Unfortunately, it's a shame. Even though the director from that worked on F-Zero GX, I don't know if he's still employed by Sega or not, but Sega made GX. He's like, yeah, he'd be willing to make another one if they were asked, but I don't think he's ever going to get that opportunity because Nintendo won't make F-Zero. Just put it in Mario Kart. Listen to our Mario Kart podcast. I think it was episode 3. So,
Yeah.
Giuliano, do you have any dream scenarios or dream announcements?
I do. It's actually unlike unlike F Zero, which isn't even a dream. It's
It's
just
never going to happen. So,
it is yeah. It's
It's an,
just not
it's an
not even like
impossibility.
it's yeah. Basically, it's an impossibility. Um, like mine is a smaller dream. Is more born of like recent gaming stuff, but I'd like to see
mhm.
Nintendo revive Mario and Luigi on Switch. Um, yeah, that's it. I would just like to see them revive Mario and Luigi on Switch because Alpha Dream went under. And like I've now played their remakes of Bowser's Inside Story and Superstar Saga, and they're really good. And like, I know Alpha Dream might not be there, but maybe Nintendo can get some of the developers and form a new studio to take on this series. Because I do think Mario needs an RPG franchise. And
Paper Mario should have
Paper
been.
Mario's definitely not that anymore.
Yeah.
It's never going to be that again. And so I feel like they need Mario and Luigi. And
I feel like Paper Mario needs its own podcast. We need to talk about that one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But for now, that's how I'm feeling. I feel like Mario and Luigi would be a nice surprise. It's not a huge dream, but it is a dream. And I don't really think there's anything out. Like, the last few years I've gotten my dream games, and I don't really feel like there's much else that Nintendo can do for me except continue to surprise me. Although I would like to see Mario Kart 9, but
like I have one big one and one small one. Like you said, Nintendo's done. Like, I got everything I could have wanted with getting just Banjo and Smash Bros from Nintendo. Like, everything is just icing on the cake now. But and the small one I would say is I want another Donkey Kong game, whether it's Donkey Kong 64, or a new 2D Donkey Kong Country game. And then the other thing is, and I know this won't happen because Sakurai is working on Smash Bros, but Kid Icarus, a new Kid Icarus Uprising game, or just a port of Kid Icarus Uprising. And that's like, those are the only things that I would be like over the moon about if Nintendo announced, but I don't think those are going to happen anytime soon. Yeah. So,
and as I said before in the previous segment, I agree with you with those ones, especially like DK64 2 or like a DK64 port. That'd be great.
I don't want a game like I know Rare made Donkey Kong 64, but DK64 killed the collectathons. Like, they gotta just make a Donkey Kong 3D Donkey Kong game in the vein or more similar to Mario 3D games. Like, don't go crazy with the collectibles. Just good level design.
World.
And we need another DK rap.
Yeah, like even like that. Yeah, like just anything. Just Donkey Kong. I think Donkey Kong's turning 40 this year, so like. And it was their first like big franchise, right? Donkey Kong was the first Nintendo franchise. It'd be fitting, but if there's not anything else you'd guys like to talk about, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's good to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say Kirby Air Ride 2. Kirby Air Ride 2. That's just like a shot of nostalgia, pure and refined.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's another one though that I feel like Sakurai's got to be involved if they do it.
Yep. Yeah. Him and his wife, she's got to make the menus too, right? So
yeah. Kirby Air Ride is what set the stage for all of Sakurai's menus.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't remember, but who knows? Yeah. But
yeah.
You guys might, depending on how our predictions go, we actually might do another episode. We'll see. We might. Episode 6 could come out in record time, but if that's
we'll call it episode 5.5.
5.5.
If it comes tomorrow, it's 5.5.
Episode 5.2.
Episode 5.2. The Quest for Peace.
The sequel.
Yep.
So
if episode you guys 5.2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
So if you guys like listening to our podcast, please subscribe to the Hub World's YouTube and like the video. Comment, see what you guys think is going to be announced in the direct tomorrow.
Just don't say Gino or we're blocking you.
Yeah, we might have to block. But anyways, thanks for listening once again. Take care and enjoy the hype train.
Choo choo.